All right, kids, we are back and ready to rock at the auction this morning. So, I'll tell you guys, there's probably about 2,000 units out here today. And right now we're sitting in a 2013 Jeep, I think Compass. But out of respect for the other dealers, I'm not going to take videos inside the auction, but we got a big list. And I'm going to highlight some of the important ones that I think are probably the coolest. Because we do have a couple of neat ones written down, and then we have our regular inventory stuff, so we're going to hop to it. All right, guys, so we are on the way back. Whoop, no one wants to hear that stupid fuzz buster. Anyway, guys, we're on the way back. We got 6 units for right around 19,000 and change. And, I do have the buy sheets for these things, so I'm happy to send you guys the buy sheets so you can see kind of what it is that I buy and how much I spend. So you got to keep in mind that tax time is tax time's a big time for a lot of businesses, especially small businesses and absolutely car dealerships. Everybody knows that, cars are, at least used cars, are hard to get during tax time, or they're more expensive. And honestly, it's all true. So we got 6, spent 19,000 and change. So that breaks down to right around $3,300 per unit. So when you apply it to some of the units, you wish you wouldn't own, the car for $3,300, but at the end of the day, every single unit that I bought, I think is worth more than $3,300 retail. So normally that's how I break down my spend. So hopefully today we'll get about 4 or 5 of our units back, thanks to Captain America, Earlski, our transporter. So we'll see what happens, but I think that we got a lot of really good, solid units. Probably the one that I'm the most excited about, if I had to say the one that I really, really love the most, would probably be my 2012 Suburban. Now, you got to keep in mind, this is a 2012 long wheelbase, big boy Suburban, professional dad wagon that I got for $2,500. Black on black with black leather. It's a 2-wheel drive, which does make a big difference here in Central Florida on price. But I really, honestly, in my heart, I really do think this truck is worth $5,500 to $6,000 all day long in the condition that it's in. It's got some bumps, it's got some bruises, it's got a check engine light. We'll scan that. We'll have Master Mechanic Dave take a look at it, and then we'll go from there. So far, so good. We're on our way back now to the shop, and hopefully when these cars get back, we're not going to have a nightmare on our hands. So let's see what we got. All right, guys, so we literally just got back to the shop. Air Force None.
Just sold this thing.
D&D Sum. Just sold this car. It's an 08 HHR. And this is part of the business that no one really likes to talk about, and that is that when you're selling these used cars, you got to take care of people. So we're going to see what's going on with this thing. You just got to scan it. Apparently it's not shifting right. So we're going to see what's up with that, because, well, when I sell a car to somebody, at the end of the day, as much as we don't like to do it, Chris, what do we have to do?
Do your taxes.
Outside of that, we got to take care of people. That's rule number 1 in this business. You absolutely have to make sure that people are happy. And furthermore, this customer was a referral. So the last thing we want to do is burn a bridge with our referee to our referral. So we have to scan this. He's kind of complaining of a shifting issue. And these HHRs are normally bulletproof. I mean, they're so bulletproof the transmissions are almost worthless because no one ever needs them. So we're going to see what's going on with it. I don't have any codes yet, but I'm going to go over these codes with you on this fancy scanner. All right, so if we look, we're going to go ECM, so engine misfire detected, but no tranny codes at all. What do we have here? Okay, that's not very helpful. Let's enter. Let's see what we got. So we're going to go to data stream. Let's just make sure that's the only code. DTT display. Boop, 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 boom. Okay, so we got an engine misfire code, but it's not being specific. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into misfire data, and then we're going to go yeah, here we go. So we're going to go misfire 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're going to hit OK, and then we're going to run the car and see what we got for misfires. So you see how we've got cylinder 4 is getting dragged down, which could be the source of why we are not shifting at appropriate RPM. Yeah, we've got a dead miss. So,
you know what's funny? You want to see something? Let me take this real quick. Pop the trunk. Oh, there you go. Unless he moved it. Huh.
turn the auto zone. What do we got? Ignition coil.
Huh. Wonder why it was in there.
So this could be a cause, which fortunately is an easy enough fix. So let's figure out if this will solve our issue. I think it'll solve our issue. All right, so what we did is we swapped our number 3 and number 4 ignition coil. And we're gonna see number 4 is still missing. So let's power brake and see if we have. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put it in the drive. We're gonna power brake it. So foot on the brake and gas. So it's intermittent. So my guess, and this is just purely a guess, is that either A, something is dragging down the current to that, or it's spark plugs. Either way, we're gonna have to take them out and see what it is and go from there. So probably what we're gonna do is we're gonna replace spark plugs real quick, see if that, kind of solves our issue. But if we look again at our data is showing us, and mind you, this is no gas, this is no RPM, just for idle RPM. We go from 160, 170, 180. These are misfired counts, by the way. And we're not really getting anything substantial. So that is definitely a little bizarre. Because if it was a mechanical failure, we would see a consistent issue. Because a mechanical issue is going to be consistent all the time, right? So if an internal failure has happened, it's going to be consistent whether we're at RPM or not. As you can see, we've got our code. And if we go back, we're going to go back, read fault codes, DTT, DTC display. We have just engine misfire detected. So we're going to go back again, make sure that we have no other fault codes. So let's go ECM, that's just the only one, and then a rear tire pressure. So we're going to start with spark plugs and then go from there. And this is something important to highlight, okay, is that if you're in a business like this, sure, it's easier maybe to tell somebody, well, you bought it as is, and especially after this guy saying that it's a training issue. I know it's not a training issue now, but what exactly would be easier to tell them? Oh, forget it, good luck? No, unfortunately, you got to do what's right. So what are we going to do? We're going to do spark plugs, and God willing, fingers crossed, we don't run into any other weird issues. So far, so good, though. We don't look like we have any U codes for a computer or anything like that. So we're going to recommend spark plugs, which probably we'll end up putting in for the customer. But we'll go from there and see what's up. Okay, so unfortunately, we have really crummy news about the HHR. So while we have good news, then we have bad news. So the good news is that we're about to have a really happy customer. The bad news is that it's going to cost me an engine plus labor to do it. So pretty much what we did is we were looking across our board for misfires. Number 4 was obviously the issue that we had, where we were getting that high misfire count all the way up into the 180s, 200, 220 at an idle. But then under RPM, we had nothing, zilch. Well, chasing the problem, we saw that somebody replaced spark plugs and ignition coil on just that number 4, and then come to find out that number 3, 2, and 1 compression is right around 120, 140. Number 4 is at a solid 60. So it's time for an engine. Do I want to put an engine in that? No. Do I want to lose money in the car? No. But do I want my reputation to be ruined over a Chevy HHR? Negative. So it's time for an engine. No two ways about it. That's just what we got to do to make life work over here. Oh, and then we have Air Force None working on his GTO. Let's see what Christian's up to. Oh, we got Air Force None in the house. Chris,
What's up?
did you hear about what happened with the HHR?
What?
So, remember how we thought maybe it was a tranny, and then we kind of slowly started to maneuver around maybe it was an ignition coil?
Sure.
Well, it turns out cylinder number 4 has a compression of 60. You want to take a guess what number 3, 2, and 1 are?
Probably 100 and something.
120.
Cool.
So all of our sluggishness and everything else is all engine. So what do you think I'm going to do? Am I going to replace the engine, or am I going to tell the guy to kick rocks?
You're gonna replace the engine.
Yep. Now, not that we wanted...
You're sitting on stuff.
What am I sitting on?
Whatever you're sitting on.
I'm not sitting on anything. You're good. Now, we don't really want to do that, but that's what we have to do. By the way, what are you working on over here?
Working on a radio.
Oh.
And I'm on the helpline right now.
You're on the helpline? You have the multimeter out and everything?
Sure.
What is the multimeter telling us there, cowboy?
It's saying that I'm fucked.
Oh, she can hear me? Oh, man. You got the multimeter out, the whole 9. Well, poor Air Force One. That's how you know you're having a bad day. We were on customer support for, what is this, Pioneer?
Nope.
JVC.
Well, you'd be wrong, because it's not customer support for Pioneer.
Oh, who's it a customer support for?
What is it called? Access interface.
Oof.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you to that. So, guys, as Air Force None is using a multimeter to try to figure out his life problems with some customer support line for an access port, I guess, we have hopefully a customer coming for our Hyundai Azera here in about, I don't know, hopefully like the next 10, 15 minutes. To give you an idea of that, by the way, that Hyundai Azera, our real cost in that car is right at $2,100 landed with transport, cleaning. And, you know, for stuff like this, the cheap stuff, right? Anything less than $5,000. My baseline is usually runs, drives with cold air. It can have lights on the dash, so on and so forth. Because for me, if you're getting a car for $3,200, $3,300, as long as it's not going to leave you stranded, I feel like that's enough. Now, you can let me know what your thoughts are in the last time that you bought maybe a $3,000 car and how it turned out for you. But generally speaking, somebody gets a car from me. As you can see from our experiences today, I'm going to make sure they're taken care of pretty much every single time. Unless you buy a car for maybe $2,000, then if it breaks, that's kind of on you. That's really when as is really taken seriously. Like, that thing could break in half and you get to keep both halves if that happens. So as much as some days don't really work out the way that we want them to, that's just the way that it is. So stick around. I think we're going to end up selling this Azera, and then we're going to wrap up the day with probably a fresh delivery of some new cars. All right, it's the official end of the day, and I just want to show you guys real quick. This right here is exactly what losing $200 looks like. Now, granted, this might be $4,500 in my hands. This guy with this stupid truck. Idiot. That might look like $4,500 in my hands, but really that represents about $200-300 of genuine net loss. So it is what it is. We did sell the Azera, though. The Azera is gone. Sold that for $32 plus dealer fee, full boat. You know, when I price a car really, really well, I don't need to negotiate. So they paid the price because the car was worth exactly what I was asking, which is a pro tip for you guys, by the way. If you're trying to sell something, don't overprice and expect people to negotiate with you. Sometimes when you price things too high, people are too scared to make you an offer. So price your stuff fair, people. Get with the program. So in recap, we got a total of 6 cars at the auction that I will cover with you guys tomorrow as they come in. Normally I get about 2 to 3 at a time throughout the day on Saturdays. So hopefully we'll get all of those tomorrow. And yeah, it was honestly a good day. We made $1,000 on the Azera. We lost $200 on the HHR. At least we will, because we're going to put an engine in it for that guy. Don't get me wrong. It's not what every person would do. A lot of guys, when they sell cars for, you know, call it less than 10 grand. And there are even guys that will sell cars for 15, 20 grand and still make you sign that as-is form. And as-is really means as-is. There is no fighting or negotiating an as-is form. As-is means that it could break in half in the parking lot, and it's yours. You keep it, you own it, and the dealer and you, well, there's no recourse. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you're buying cars from used dealers, is that not everybody acts like I do. At the end of the day, I've got a name to keep up with. I was raised to take care of people, and that's the way that I plan on keeping my business, is making people happy, even if it is at a detriment to my own finances. That's just the way the cookie crumbles in this business, and there is not a single thing you can do about it. So at the end of the day, we had an $800 net day, which is better than making zero or losing. So it is what it is. We still had a great day. We have a lot of opportunity to come up tomorrow to get some more units, which you guys will be seeing tomorrow. So I guess that's the end of it. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video and you want to see more content like this, or you have any suggestions on something that you'd like to see coming up in the future, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and send me a comment to let me know what you would like to see more of. In the meantime, guys, I love you. I'll talk to you real soon. Ciao!